Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast. This is podcast number 48. We have a special one today. We're going to be reviewing the season as a whole of all of Sporting Clube de Portugal, of course. But before we get to that, let's go straight to the panel. Starting off with my boy Steph. Steph, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing okay. I mean, we lost today in futsal, so that was a bummer. But I'm happy about the futsal team. They're giving us so much this year. The Super Cup, Taça Portugal, champions of Europe. So I'm not upset at them at all. It was just a bad break today, but we'll talk about it. But I'm doing pretty good. Other than that.
Yeah, agreed with you, Steph, by the way. And of course, last but not least, also joined by my boy Christian. Christian, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. Like Steph said, today kind of sucked. We didn't, play that great. Just pretty much over the course of the series. So it was. It sucks because that men's football season ended. So this was pretty much the only thing we had going on. So it would have been nice to have this end in a better way. Because now there's really nothing going on outside preseason games starting in like a month. But yeah, you can't win them all, I guess. And the futsal team's given us a lot over the past recent history, including this season in Europe. So can't complain about everything.
Yeah, agreed. We've definitely been spoiled the last 5-6 years under our futsal team for sure. All right, let's jump right into it. As all of you should know, or all of you Sportingistas at least should know, at least domestically, this wasn't the greatest season overall, including football and other modalities. But we do have some European titles to cheer about. But first and foremost, let's talk about the very famous handball team. Unfortunately, this year they didn't conquer anything. Last year, they conquered the Campeonato. They were B champions at least. Anyway, Steph, let me throw it off to you first. We also have news of a new coach coming in, Thierry Anti. What are your overall thoughts of this season's handball team, and looking forward? What are you looking forward to?
Okay, so first and foremost, the handball team made history by being the first Portuguese team to go so far in the Champions League of handball, and that played a big toll on our team because we played an additional more than Porto and Benfica, and I'm talking about our rivals. We played an additional 12 more games than them at a very high competition, and we paid a really high price. That's why our team is a good team, great team, awesome team, full of quality. But when you go that deep in a such demanding competition as the Champions League of handball, you'll pay a toll in the domestic competitions, and that's really what happened. We had a shitload of injuries. I mean, if you pay attention to detail, you realize how come our handball team didn't deliver at the end, and this is why. And there's nothing we can do. We were competing about teams. They had a so basically, we need a deeper team, but we didn't have enough money for such. So whatever we had, and we did great in the Champions League, but we didn't have enough fuel in our tank. Um, so next year we're going to be in the second most important competition in handball, which is EHF, which is equivalent to the soccer fans or football fans to Europa League. So it's also a phenomenal competition, which Porto made also history on it by reaching the semifinals. And we have a great coach, Thierry Anti. He's a coach full of experience. He's gone to the Champions League final. He's gone to the EHF final. He's won a lot of trophies in France with Nantes. So that was a good acquisition by our Sporting. We also signed up a young talent from Águas Santas, Gonçalo Vieira, and we basically keeping most of the team. I know we lost to Pedro Solia, but sometimes, and we lost our coach, Canelo.
Mhm.
Sometimes themselves they have other dreams, and maybe they wanted to go to a more competitive league and try something different, and perhaps make more money. But that's all I got to say. I'm very proud of our team and handball team, and they made history for Portugal to go that far in the Champions League. And I'll predict a good season next year with the new coach, new ideas, and let's see what kind of players we're getting. So let's be optimistic, and and that's it.
For sure. Christian, any lingering thoughts about handball?
Yeah, I remember watching the Champions League, the game that we ended up losing, or the series. I believe it was against a Hungarian team, and we played well, and it was a close game, but we just didn't have like that extra edge, and you could just tell that they were more experienced, that they'd been there before. We were kind of in uncharted waters as far as being that far in the competition. And we lost the home game by I think one or two goals. We just didn't have enough gas in the tank, and then we went there. We lost by like maybe 5 or 6. So you could tell that we had a good team, but we weren't fully ready for a run that deep. And yeah, like Steph said, I think that definitely didn't help domestically. It's like anything else. You play, if you're playing your Champions League or Europa League, you're playing 2 games a week. It's tough to find a good balance of going for it, and playing all your good players, and also managing the league as well. And we just didn't have enough depth, or quite enough quality to really equally balance both of those competitions. So yeah, it's disappointing that we didn't win any titles this season, but yeah, looking forward to this new coach. Seems good, and yeah, we'll see what happens with the handball team.
Yeah, agreed with both of you. Next, we're gonna go into atletismo, where we have a few trophies won. I'm gonna be saying them in Portuguese. If you guys know the English translation, don't be shy to yell them in. So the first one for the male team, masculinos, Campeonato Nacional de Corta Mato and Campeonato Nacional de Estrada for the males. For the females, we won Taça de Clubes Campeões Europeus de Corta Mato, Campeonato Nacional da Pista Coberta for the females as well, and Campeonato Nacional de Estrada. So yeah, Steph, any thoughts on that real quick? Or
Yeah, I mean, we also the female team they were vice champions of Europe. We missed it
yep,
by a few points. We fell behind in second place. A Turkish team won the title. But let's be realistic. What happens every time somebody becomes champion? Your rival will become stronger. Will get better athletes, and that's what happened. The Turkish team had a couple uh, better athletes this year to compete against Sporting. They prepared themselves well. Um, we had also. I don't want to blame in injuries, but a couple of our key athletes in the female teams they were injured, and a couple of them didn't perform to the expectations we were expecting them to. But overall, our female team, congratulations to them. Um, they dominated domestically. They won all the titles domestically, and they missed the European title by a few points. Our male team as well. Domestically, we won a couple titles, but we didn't compete in the European. That was Benfica, and I think they finished third in that competition. But congratulations to our male teams as well. So now let's see the future, what it will hold us. Let's not forget that Nelson Évora won an international competition in triple salto. So he got the bronze medal, if I'm not mistaken.
The silver.
Silver. Thanks for the correction. So that was one of our international titles that we won, which it was 7 of them, which we'll talk about them little by little. So it's something to talk about. But that's it. That's all I have for track and field. But they always give us so many titles. Our history, our club history, is full of titles from track and field. And I just would like to say, for 2019, they were great again domestically. They dominated. And thank you so much, and congratulations to our track and field ladies and gentlemen, of course.
For sure. And Christian, same goes to you.
Yeah, man. I was gonna talk about Nelson Evra as well. Just despite aging, he still is competing at the highest level, taking home another medal at the Indoor European Championships. And yeah, it's pretty amazing how he's managed to maintain constantly being in the mix at these at the World Championships, the European Championships. I guess there's still time for him to try to get another Olympic medal. But I'd say that probably the next Olympics will probably be the end for him. But he was a long-time Porto athlete, but he's come to Sporting in a bit of an older age and still maintained top level of form and performance.
He was from Benfica.
Benfica, yeah.
Oh, I think he might have played for both. Oh, okay, yeah, he was Benfica a long time. He started at Porto for 3 years and then Benfica.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just one more thing about track and field. We won many individual competitions. So like Sara, Patricia Mamona, all those athletes individually, they perform well on the domestic level as well.
Yeah.
Just want to say that.
No, for sure. Thank you, Steph, for that. All right, moving over next. It brought us a lot of happiness the last 2 years. This year, unfortunately, couldn't really win anything. So we'll talk more about the downfall of our female soccer team. A soccer team who I still think has a lot of quality in it. Just I think was unmatched by the recent investment of our rivals in women's soccer, Braga. As well as, questionable whether the manager should have been there or not. But we are looking forward to a new season with, I forget her name. If you guys know off the top of your head.
Anna Kova?
Something like that, yeah. You're on the ballpark. Anyways, Christian, I'll pass it off to you. In your eyes, what went wrong for the females this year?
Yeah, I mean, Braga is I think it's Patricia Kova, actually.
Yeah, let me see.
Steph probably knows. Yeah, I mean, obviously Braga has been a big rival for us recently. It's always between us and them, pretty much all the competitions. And so for the last 2 years, we've kind of cleaned up shop and swept them. In the league and in the cup as well. But it's not to say that they didn't give us, they weren't, we were smacking them 3-0. The cup final 2 years ago, I believe it went to extra time and we beat them on a ridiculous long range goal. So, I mean, they were always a competitive rival to us, but I mean, I think that they just did more in the transfer window this season. And they got some good players. They got some beasts in midfield this year, and I just think that they were a bit better than us. I mean, overall, if you look at the classification, I think we finished 4 points back at them. So it's not like we were there just in another league compared to them. But we fell in the cup, and then we lost to them in the first leg. Or the first tie in between us and the league, and then we needed to win like 3-0 in the second one to pass them. I believe we drew 0-0. So yeah, I mean, I think that our women's football team has a lot of great players. A lot of players who play for Portugal who is kind of starting to make a name for themselves on the international stage when they were pretty much irrelevant Going back just like 5 years, women's soccer in Portugal wasn't really a threat. I mean, it was like, we didn't qualify for the World Cup, but we finished one spot out of qualifying. So it's definitely on the come up, and there's a lot of good players. We got a lot of good young players, and a lot of them are on our team. So I think this summer is mostly going to be about maintaining a lot of them, and then maybe adding a few extra pieces. There were those weird, wacky rumors that Patricia Moraes and someone else had like rescinded their contracts, and that turned out to just be a bogus story. So I think that if we kind of lose pieces of our core, it'll be difficult, especially with Benfica coming up from the second division this season. And they won the cup as well, despite being in the second division, because they have the roster of a first division team. They invested pretty heavily, so it'll be a interesting battle between the three of us next season. So I hope that we can maintain our core, add a few pieces, and I think we'll be right there competing. But if we kind of disinvest from our team here and kind of try to cut the budget, things like that, we could be looking at like a third place finish if things don't go right. So hopefully we can keep everybody.
Yeah, agreed. And so our new coach's name is actually Susana Cova.
Okay.
Yeah. Formerly of the Portuguese national team. Like you said, we were 1 point away. So promising future ahead. She signed a 1-year contract with an extra an option at the end of that season. Steph, I'll pass it off to you next. What did you think of the females?
Well, like you said, it's Susanna Kova, and she has a lot of experience from the national teams, the youth national team and stuff. So I think she'll be a good fit. She knows most of our youth players. We have some up and coming, exciting young ladies that they really know how to play football well. But that's not good enough. What Braga did was actually a golpe de gênio. It was just very smart of them to invest in the American market. They basically acquired 4 Americans. I don't know if you saw the games um, of Braga, but these 4 Americans were very tall, very strong in the midfield, and they basically dominated with muscle and their physique. Um, as you can see, and then I don't know if you're following the World Cup. I am. I'm a fanatic in all sports, as you should know it by now. You guys know me quite well. But the display of 13-0 against Thailand, and today 3-0 against Chile, which could have been 10-0 as well. It just shows that the female soccer in the United States, it's a step above everybody else.
Yeah, even historically, the American team has almost always won. Usually been between the Americans, the Canadians, and another team I'm forgetting. But anyways, continue.
Japan. They're pretty good as well.
Yeah.
And Germany, they have 2 World Cup titles.
Yeah.
We have 3. The Germans have 2.
Yeah.
But there's only 7 World Cups so far. So, with that said, Braga prepared really well. I don't know who told them to invest in the American market. That was well played. And that was the key difference. And we started a little bit shaky. We lost points against Turil, against teams we shouldn't have. And then towards the end, we finished 2 points away from Braga only, not 4, 2. So because we had to win at Braga by 3-0, and we tied the last game against Braga 0-0 in no 1 de Maio. And that's and everybody that followed the ladies soccer team, we knew it was almost kind of impossible to go to Braga and win 3-0. Because Braga didn't play to win the game. They contained the game. They dropped the lines, and they invited Sporting, you guys need to win, so you come and play and win the game. And we just couldn't score. Personally, towards the end of the second half, the ladies were playing quite well, actually. We redeemed ourselves, but it was just too late. Braga just went into a cruising mode, and they just managed properly They still tied one game against Studio because they were ahead of us by 4 points, and it gave us a little bit of glimpse of hope, but it wasn't good enough. Against the only game they fucked up, the Benfica, when they lost at home in the second hand of the Taça de Portugal. But besides that, Braga dominated the competition in ladies. And next year, if we're not careful, if we don't go and get some new acquisitions, and I would strongly suggest to the administration, sporting administration, to look into the American market.
Mhm.
Just like in basketball, they go get the third tier or fourth tier basketball players in America, but that's good enough for the Portuguese league. I hate to say it, but it is good enough. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
you look at. I don't know if you follow basketball in Portugal. I do follow a little bit,
Mhm.
even though we don't have a team yet. We'll have a team next year. But Oliveirense and Benfica, they dominate the competitions. And you look at the basketball players they have. The top ones they have is the Americans. But you and Chris that follow the NBA, if you look at their names, you'll be like, "What the hell are they?
I
You
would
never
I,
heard
I
of
would
them."
actually be able to help out their scouting department, honestly, because there's a lot of like lower tier, like American players or D
Yes.
League players.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm a big Sixers fan, so I went through the process era where we literally just had random scrubs rotating in and out of the team, and guys like that would really help us.
Yep.
Um, so I think that they would be great for Sporting.
Yeah.
And definitely, and that's what the female team needs to do. The scouting department, they need to look into Duke University. The We have so much talent in as far as females, but they'll never make the national team because the national team can only call, what is it, 24 ladies. But we have so much talent that would be good fit for the Sporting team, and that's all I gotta say. If we want to remain competitive against Benfica and hey guys, that's it.
Oh,
Cool.
I thought I lost you for a second. Sorry. Okay. All right. Next is just the formação. Really, we only had one campeonato this year from the list that I'm seeing, and it was the Campeonato Nacional de Iniciados. Steph, I know you follow that a bit more closely than I do, at least. Give me your quick 2 cents on that.
Well, we basically became B campeões, so back to back championships.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have an amazing under 15 soccer team, which gives us really high hopes for the under 17 next year, whoever moves up. The under 17, it was also a decent team, but it was altogether it was the first year under the under 17. So we didn't do it quite so well, even though we won today 6-2. But we lost the important games against Benfica, and we tied a stupid game against Braga when we were winning at home 2-0. We tied 2-2, uh, and that upsetted me because we didn't. And then juniors under 19, I'm just going to hit a little bit, all of them at the same time. We stunk big time. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a problem of coaching staff or not renewing with key players because we lost a lot of players. If we don't sign them with a professional contract, as you could see now, they will they have no reason for money, so they will tell them, hey, there's a team in Italy that they're willing to sign you up. You want to go? Well, let's go now. So instead of staying at Sporting and develop themselves, we see more and more players going to other leagues because we didn't sign a professional contract with them. Basically, these young players are saying, "Show me the money or I'll leave." So the under 19, we finished third, like 20 points away from Football Club Porto, which they won the championship. In Juvenis, under 17, Benfica clinched the championship today, and under 15, our team won at Porto. we won over there. We smacked them 3-0. So in Olival. So congratulations to our youth. And I know for Frederic Verandes was saying that they're going to restructure the whole structure because he realizes that we're losing too many key players, and something needs to shape up because it's not normal for Sporting. We haven't been champions of juniors under 19 now for I think 3 years, and juveniles the same thing. The last title was in 2017. I mean, you could take a look and see yourself. I might be off a little bit, uh, but we do need to do something else because our youth economy this year didn't display what Sporting Portuguese expect. And the under 23, also we were close to winning the title, but the bottom line is these young players, they're learning, they're developing, and that's the most important. Of course, if they win titles, it's good as well. But let's not forget that the most important thing is the development and the experience they're acquiring. But we have to also mention that we lost too many young players to our rivals, and some just went to other leagues, and we have to contain and control that much better. So let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. All right, next, the more pressing one, at least the one that happened today, our futsal team. So this is what they finished out with. They won the Supertaça earlier in the year, or in the season, I should say. Taça Portugal early as well against Benfica, and of course the famous Liga dos Campeões in futsal, the trophy we've been chasing for a few years. Finally got to win that in Kazakhstan, in Kazakhstan this year. Right, in Kazakhstan? I'm not. Yeah, it was in Kazakhstan, right?
Right. That's
Right.
right.
Yes,
Cool.
Yeah.
I was about to say Azerbaijan. Yeah, it was in Kazakhstan this year. So 3 trophies. Sadly, it wasn't the 4th by today, but overall a decent season. Christian, what are your thoughts on the futsal team?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it like big picture, it was a great season. European champions, well deserved. We beat the best team. Out of the 4 in the final 4, we beat the best team. In the semis, we outplayed them and we deserved to win. And then the final, we deserved to win that game as well, against Almaty. At their place. Obviously, they were the hosts, so even more difficult. But we were used to winning. But obviously, at the same time, Benfica has a pretty good futsal team as well. We did beat them in the cup final, and we did draw them in the group stage of the Champions League to advance out of the group. All we needed to do was draw. They needed to win, and we got the job done and advanced on goal differential, which put us into the final 4, which put us in a position to win the European title. But I thought that we weren't at our best just over the course of the final, the whole series. We were constantly getting in position that we were having to chase the game, getting down like by 3 goals and having to chase the game. That game 4 goal with 30 seconds left was pretty amazing. And that was a great memory of the final. And last year, I mean, it went to game 5 as well, and we ended up winning in PKs. We beat them in the cup final in PKs, and then we lost by 1 goal. We hit the post with 7 seconds left in game 5. So obviously 2 very evenly matched teams, and it's just kind of the way that the cards fell. I think that we missed having Dieguinho a lot in the last 2 games. I thought that we didn't really have anyone that could hold the ball up there like him. And I thought that Deo was basically unplayable in these last couple games. Just not strong enough, not physical enough. Cavinato is obviously good, but I think that he benefits a lot from having another striker like Dieguinho out there. I thought João Matos didn't play that great over the course of the finals. And just today's game was just really sloppy in general. just the passing overall and giving them some free goals pretty much in the first half, and putting ourselves in a hole on the road in a must-win game. So, I mean, I think that Benfica were probably, just winners overall over the course of the series. They were probably the better team, but I mean, we didn't really do ourselves any favors. But, at the same time, I think we have to be happy with the season. The futsal team has won every domestic championship since 2015, I believe. So that was 3 straight. It would have been 4 straight. And we won a European title and we won a cup. So, I mean, I think that the futsal team is in good hands with Nuno Diaz, and I'm looking forward to defending our title again, because we're defending a European championship. People will be gunning for us. I'm sure Benfica will continue to invest and play us tough. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And Steph, I'll pass it off to you with our futsal.
Yeah. So first and foremost, the only thing I can say about our futsal team is thank you so much. It was a great season. Of course, that as a Sportingista, we want to win everything. But when you look at the overall picture, in 5 competitions, we won 3 competitions. So I would say that's very positive, very successful season. Super Taça, we won it. We won the Taça Portugal, just like Chris said, and we won the number one, the most important competition of futsal, which is the Champions League. That's even more. It's even better than the Portuguese league. It doesn't matter what people say. I haven't heard anything yet. But if somebody says no, the Portuguese league is more important than the Champions League, then we'll talk about that. But so far, no one has mentioned that. So let's leave it at that. But very proud of these guys. We went to game number 5 at Estádio da Luz, Pavilhão da Luz, I should say. And like Chris said, Benfica is a great team. But today's game, we didn't lose because Benfica is a great team. It's because we gave them 2 major gifts. Uh, the third goal they scored, I totally blame the our Gita. I mean, what the hell was that? He just gave him the ball. He miscalculated the ball, and then the fourth goal they scored. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I mean, you gave the ball to the Benfica player, and he didn't even do much at all. So when you give them 2 major gifts like that, that's what happens. You could lose the game, and we lost the game. And then the referees were blind. That was a PK. If that's not a
Yeah.
PK, I mean, all the way from the United States, I saw the goddamn PK. That's a PK. Lá do
Yeah,
Celcinho,
agreed.
caralho, foda. It's a PK. I mean,
Agreed.
you don't need a VAR for that. You could tell he lifted his hand.
The roughing was
Uh,
bad overall the whole series, I
Oh yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
and that's what the 2 commentators of RTP, they should be fired today. They should because they had no fucking não tiveram culhões. They had no fucking balls to tell the truth, to say, oh yeah, that was a PK. Not even once they admitted it, even when it was in replay. These 2 guys didn't have the courage to speak the truth and say that was a PK that the referees missed. Why not? Just say it the way it is. You're supposed to be truthful. So you just call it the way it is. I mean, they replayed it like 10 times and they never said it was a PK. I mean,
Yeah.
the atmosphere with the Benfica fans, with the Sportingista fans was amazing in all the games. We have the best futsal league, the two best officiating, and we have a shitty fucking liga. If we put Benfica and Sporting in a different league, it would be an amazing spectacle. But since we belong to a piece of shit fucking, I'm not gonna say country because I love Portugal, but a piece of shit league, but a piece of shit league and a piece of shit fucking refereeing, apart, and Liga and Federação, because why was Dieguinho given 2 games suspension?
Yeah.
Why would you want to remove one of the best futsal players if you want a better spectacle? No, the futsal, you want to keep those players playing. You don't want to remove them because it's going to give an advantage to the other team, because that's what happened. Dieguinho never deserved two games suspension by the Liga Portuguesa. Why was he given 2 games? You just killed the beautiful game of futsal by removing one of the best players. Benfica shouldn't be afraid to play against the best. I'm not going to blame Benfica directly, but indirectly, yes, because they could of him. Of course, they don't see it that way because they think everything is okay, and that they have the best team in the world. Uh, they did have a good team, and it's not their fault that we gave them 2 goals. But and um, and that PK not being called, and the ref not to focus so much on that. They dominated better. It's like they wanted it more, throughout the 5 game series. But we always came back and we gave them a good fight. The game you shouldn't have not been suspended the 2 games, because now it's always going to be something we could justify to Benfica. Said, well, you won because even if you played out the difference in today's game, and but besides that, you know what? We can win all the time. We won for 3 years in a row. The last time Benfica won was in 2015, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very proud of our team. Very proud of our team, and I mean, 3 years in a row. Okay, we didn't win this year. We didn't win, but you know what? We won the Champions League. What else can you? What else can you ask? A Taça de Portugal, Super Taça. That's excellent. It's. That's it. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah, agreed. Liverpool aren't kicking themselves about not winning the Premier League when they won the Champions League. It's one of those. And in my opinion, in the Gala futsal, I don't know if they've won. I'm pretty sure they've won in the last few years, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But in this year, on the Gala, when it comes to the best team award, it has to be futsal, in my opinion. But anyways, let's move on to hockey and patinage, where we came third in the league. 6 points behind Porto, I believe. Let me just double check that. 6 points behind Porto, 3 points behind Oliveirense. So we came third. But we won another European title, the Taça dos Clubes Campeões Europeus. Christian, talk to me through hockey and patinage, dude.
Yeah. So I think that the turning point for this was the game that Miguel Albuquerque's wife got punched in the face at the Dragão Caixa. We lost. I think we were 2 points back of them at the time, and it would have moved us into first. But then instead, the gap opened up, and pretty much that led Porto to the title. And then the rest of the way was kind of shitty after that. So I think that was the turning point in the domestic season. That game was very frustrating. I think that the hockey team, is once again, obviously, pretty good. I think that we have a world-class goalkeeper who kept us alive in a lot of games that we probably shouldn't have been in. And yeah, I mean, I think that, obviously a European title in hockey with 3 out of the 4 teams being Portuguese in the Final Four, and even more in the quarterfinals. It's good. I think that we have the best roller hockey league in the world, and obviously we're one of the better teams in the world if we're one of the top teams in that league. So it sucks that we didn't win, but at least we won, a European title again. It kind of sucks to not really renew in any of these modalities as far as winning the title, because we won in all of the major modalities, the domestic titles last season, and this season we didn't win any, so it kind of sucks. But at least the trade-off is we won 2 European titles.
Yeah, agreed. We'll move on to judo next. We won the Campeonato Nacional, the league title. That's all it shows here, but Steph, I don't know if we've won more or not, but take us through the judo.
I'm just going to mention something really fast about Kim Patins.
My bad, bro.
No, that don't worry about it. There's a couple of things that happened. João Pinto, and something happened that he didn't play for most part of the season, and that's pretty bad because he was our captain. It looked like it was maybe a personal problem between the coach and him. Don't have any details. I don't work at Sporting. I'm just a fan. But and also we lost Vitor Hugo. So I think they were extremely focused for the Champions League, and that's why we won it, and we deserved, because we were the best team in the tournament, and it was in our pavilion. That helped a lot. But then after that title, they lost focus, and then they were already negotiating play who was staying and who was not staying, and when you play those games, in the middle of competitions, you lose your focus. So in Taça Portugal, we lost our focus against Benfica, and then we reached the final against Oliveirense, and they got spanked by Oliveirense, which is a good thing. And then Porto, they were the better team for the Portuguese league. So Cape Patins, everything was divided. Oliveirense got the Taça Portugal, Porto got the championship of Portugal, and we won the Champions League. So again, very proud of it. We're getting some very exciting players. We got a couple players from the Portuguese league, and one exciting player from Lodi, an Italian, really good player. So and the core of the team will stay. So that's good. I'm anticipating to be a great season next year, and that's all I got to say about the Kim Patins. Judo. We won again the title domestically, and so I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, could you take a look at it? Is it 4 years in a row in judo?
Yeah, give me 1 sec. We'll go ahead and talk.
It should be 2019, 2018, 2017, and 2016, if I'm not mistaken. It should be tetracampeões in judo.
Yeah, you're right. And before that, and we just missed out on 2015 because we also dominated 2014, 2013, 2012, and 2011.
Yeah.
Yep.
So judo, Sporting dominates domestically. We won a title last year of the European 2018. Not this year, but that for judo, yeah, we represent Sporting quite well as well.
Yeah, and speaking of representing Sporting quite well, the next sport was table tennis, where it was basically a clean sweep. Campeonato Nacional, Taça Portugal, and Supertaça for the males, and Campeonato Nacional and Taça Portugal for the females. We won everything, basically. Christian, what do you think of table tennis, dude?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched too much table tennis, but I know that we have like pretty much a stranglehold on the league for that. I think we've won like, I don't know, like maybe 6 years in a row at least. So yeah, it's that's obviously very good, but I mean I can't really speak too much into specifics of it.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 years in a row. 4 years in a row. I'm looking at that now. Nice. Yeah, but agreed. I also haven't watched a lot of it either, but I know that much at least that we kill. Second last, I should say, before the footy, our volleyball team unfortunately didn't win anything this year. They did win the league last year for the first time in 22 years, if I'm not mistaken, or 24 years, but this year they didn't. Steph, take us through the volleyball team real quick.
Okay, so I'll take you to the volleyball team really fast, but I just want to mention something about the ladies in that table tennis,
Mhm.
which the last time they had won a title was in 1992, so they broke the spell.
Yep.
So they just came back actually, and the last time they won the Taça de Portugal was also in
Also 92.
1992.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those ladies were amazing, and two of our ladies married to two of our players, Apollonia and o Monteiro. So it's couples. It's kind of funny. Um, yeah, it's amazing actually.
Yeah.
I watched actually the game, and they played real well. The volleyball team, we were successful the first year, but then we lost some key players, and we didn't replace them with the same talent and same skill set as the other ones, and we suffered the consequences. And Benfica were pissed that uh, Benfica basically in Porto. When you become champion in Portugal, what happens? Your rivals, they're gonna reinforce themselves and they're gonna go after you, and that's what happened. We paid the consequences of our success of last year. And in volleyball, the Benfica dominated. There's nothing I can say about that. The referees can't cheat that much in volleyball. Let's be honest. So
Yeah.
the better team was Benfica in all aspects in everything. So congrats to them. I'll give them congratulations in volleyball because it's obvious. It's too obvious. So I mean, there's no cheating involved whatsoever.
Right.
Uh, so we need to reinforce ourselves. We got a new coach, Brazilian, and we already got a couple new also players from Brazil. So Brazil, they've ranked really high in the world ranking. So I'm expecting a very exciting season in volleyball too. So let's see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our female team just got promoted.
Exactly.
That they become champions of the second league. And the good thing is, in the female division, you'll have Sporting, Benfica, and Porto as well. They just announced they will have a female volleyball team in the first division.
Well, that's good too. Then that's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Um, and last but not least, of course, our goal ball, two European titles, one from the females, and then the males became bicampeão. Christian, anything to say about the goal ball team?
It should count to our official European title record.
Exactly. Agreed.
That's the main thing I have to say about that. It's not any less of a sport than any other sport.
Agreed.
So it should count as an official title.
Yeah, agreed.
Respect for our athletes of goalball.
Exactly. I was actually just having a conversation with a buddy of a rival team, and I was saying that exact same thing. All because it's not soccer doesn't mean we shouldn't disrespect or respect these athletes any less. So what if soccer makes the most money? It shouldn't matter. At the end of the day, these guys are athletes, and they're to be respected. And Steph, anything to say about goalball?
Yeah, really fast. Our men's team is bicampeões, so second year in a row, winning the European title and also the domestic title. And our ladies, for the first time ever in the competition, they also clinched the European title. So congrats to them. And one more trophy internationally, which was kickboxing, André Santos.
Yeah, that wasn't on the list, so thank you for that. Yeah, André Santos, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And of course, coming to you next year, I think it's the second division, if I'm not mistaken, but we will have a basketball team, correct?
No, in the first division.
Oh, it'll be in the first division. Okay,
yes.
great.
Yeah, we just have to meet some requirements like X amount of international players, meaning in the international team and stuff like that.
Which is great.
So they getting some. I saw from Revista 1906. They email. I don't know if you guys became subscribers with them or not. No, did you
I
become?
haven't. No, I haven't had the time. No.
Oh, okay. By the way, it only takes 30 seconds. But anyway.
I know, but I've been barely home, dude. Barely home. But anyways.
But anyway, I got an email from them, and they focused on the basketball team. They just give me, like we say in Portuguese, cheirinho, aquilo que
Mm,
vem.
mm.
And then the one page was focusing on the comeback of the basketball team, and we got a couple players from Porto, Madeira Basket, a couple players from all over Jogueira. Our coach is also won 4 Portuguese titles, a bunch of titles in Africa when he was in Angola. So they putting together a very exciting team. Again, with the American players. I never heard them about them before. Now I'm researching to get to know them, but they've been playing in Portugal and they know the reality of the Portuguese league. So we should have a interesting team, but I'm not going to say that they will be competing for the title.
No, not
But
yet. At least
no, I don't think so. I'm not going to put that. I
pressure
mean,
on them. Yeah.
no,
No, it shouldn't be yet. Not yet.
no. But I'm expecting them at least to make the playoffs, which it's the top 6 in Portugal.
Hmm.
It's a smaller league, but it's going to be an exciting league. It's going to be Benfica, Porto,
Oliveirense is good too.
Oliveirense. Yeah,
Might be bicampeão. Maybe if
yes,
they beat
yes.
if they beat Benfica.
They have a better team than Benfica. They have
Hmm.
more experience. They've been together longer, and Benfica made a couple of moves. I don't want to talk about them, but you know, but our team next year should be exciting, and we shall see. I mean, but let's not
Yeah.
expect them to win the title right away. You know.
Yeah. All right, and moves on to the football team, the soccer team. Of course, a Taça da Liga and a Taça Portugal ganho, or one, I should say. Um, Christian, I'll throw it off to you. Overall, what are your thoughts on this season? And I guess to simplify it, is it a good season, a Taça da Liga and a Taça Portugal? Considering and third place, of course, considering the drama we had to go through.
Yeah, I think it's actually a pretty good season. Just looking back on it, it definitely could have been a lot worse. I think that a couple players definitely made a name for themselves this season. Like any season, there's positives and negatives. I think Jovan Cabral, super exciting coming off the bench, bagging a goal and an assist like every time he came off, but then he sort of fell off, didn't get as much playing time later on in the season. Obviously, it was disappointing for him. But, there were a lot of players that I think kind of proved themselves. Bruno Fernandes was one of the best players in all of Europe. I think our Europa League run was, a bit unfortunate, and kind of ended, in bad fashion. But I think that winning 2 titles in a season for the first time in over a decade, it's tough to look at that as a bad season, especially considering the summer that we had, and Jose Peseiro was our coach until Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. Steph, I'll pass off to you. Same question. Thoughts on the season, and was it a good one?
Yeah, excellent.
Is it bringing up for you too, Chris? Or is it
Yeah.
just
Can you say that again, Steph? It kind of cut out.
me? Yeah.
It up. We had how many? I said we had 3 different.
Fuck. You're so close. Steph, you're breaking up, buddy.
Presidents, 3 different coaches. Could you hear me now?
All right. Well, I think you're back.
Now I can. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I
Can
can.
you hear me?
Yeah. You're back.
Better?
Yeah. Thank you.
I know why. I just got. Yeah. So no, it was a good season with 3 different presidents, 3 different coaches. You kidding me? The attack in the academy We
Mhm.
didn't have a preseason. It was an awesome season. A ganhar a Taça da Liga, a Taça Portugal. So I'm expecting more next year, of course. So let's have a good preseason. Let's. I can wait for the 31st of August. I hate the fucking market season because
uh, yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, and I can wait for the 24th of July so I can meet you guys. I don't know if Danny's going, but I know Chris is.
I'm still not a for sure, but I'm looking likely to go. But I'm still not for sure. But yeah, anyways, I agree with you guys. I also think it was a good season. A bit disappointing in the league, of course. We had, we were up there up until January at least. I think we could have done a bit better. A bit of a poor showing in the European campaign, especially falling out to a struggling Villarreal side, who was really brushed aside from Valencia. But to look at the positives, I agree. We found the gem in Jovan Cabral, even though he stopped playing towards the end of the season, or towards more towards when Kaiser came in. We found a bit of confidence. We had another goal scoring striker, I should say, in Luis Felipe. We seem to have found two really good players from Christian Borja and Dumbia. Bruno Fernandes, of course, had a stellar season. Which will hopefully result into a very big payday for us. Wendell really came to his own this season, which is a very big positive. Mathieu showing that age is nothing but a number. And even Renan, who I feel every Sportingista has bitched and moaned about, was the hero at least twice for us, at the very minimum, twice for us. In the penalty shootouts, or I should say more actually, because against the semifinals also. I'm thinking of another year. My bad. But anyways, yeah, it was a good season. Of course, more to be desired. I think we'd all agree on that, but definitely a good season. Let me ask you guys this: in terms of presidency, we'll first start with Sousa Sintra. I think it's a bit easier this one, whereas I think Varandas is a bit more of a complex because, there's definitely good with bad with Varandas. But on Sousa Sintra, what are your overall thoughts on his 3 months and how much damage or how much good did he do for Sporting? Christian, I'll start with you.
I definitely think that he was pretty reckless, mostly, as president of the club. I think that some of the worst aspects of his tenure was him seemingly patting himself on the back the entire time through. So
Yeah.
not only was he making some ill-advised signings, seemingly spending too much money on nothing, but he was, acting like he was doing God's work the whole time, and wouldn't stop, patting himself on the back for what he was doing. So yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot worse. I think that he mostly just tried to play it safe, but I mean, eventually his decisions to loan out some of the players that he loaned out and some of the people that he brought in, like Diaby, were just not needed. And yeah, I mean, he could have definitely wrecked things a lot more than he did. But I'm glad that it was only for 3 months, because I don't know what a full season of him would have looked like.
I don't even want to think about that. Steph, quick thoughts also on Sousa Sintra, but also dive into how you think Varandas' tenure has started off. Good, bad, middle. What do you think, Steph?
Well, talking about Sousa Sintra, like Chris said, I'm glad he was only there for 3 months. What a disaster! Oh my goodness! I mean, I think I would have done a better job. Seriously. So he didn't benefit Sporting on anything. Like Chris said, he kept on saying how great of a job he did, but really, I mean, now we've seen the consequences of how much money some players are making, a lot more than before, and that's why he was able to retain them. It's not a secret anymore. The report is out there, so now we know how much everybody makes, including of all of our modalities, that's another embarrassment.
Right.
But enough said about Sousa Sintra. A disaster, completely a disaster. Um, and now Varandas is kind of paying the consequences of the whole ordeal, which kicking out BD Bruno Carvalho, which was done in a very poorly way. Uh, so he's not. Varandas is never going to have the PC needs. Never. The nation, the Sporting nation is very divided. Still very divided. I mean, you look at Twitter, you look at Facebook, you look in general, and you see that um, if we don't if we don't chill, and then as Sporting Geese and get together and get united, I don't know. Seriously, our future is at stake then. Because we need to unify and we need to become just a one club. I mean, of course, you're entitled to your own opinions, but the stuff I've seen out there, I mean, I'm not going to be socio. I'm not going to pay any scotas. I'm not going to buy a game box. If I lived in Lisbon, I would have a game box, but I live in Delaware, so it makes no sense for me to get one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the sporting nation is very divided, and that's not good. It's not going to help our cause. We don't even need Portistas and Benfiquistas to say shit about us because we say shit about each other. And you go to Twitter and you say something positive about Bruno Carvalho, you'll have 50 negative tweets against you. If you say something positive about Varandas, the same thing, the same ripple effect. So, and it's not the way it should be. We have to stick together, and that's the way will be successful. So Varandas is going to be struggling these long 3 years left. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been roughly 8 months now or 7 months. So he's going to be struggling the whole time because he's never going to get the peace he needs. He doesn't have the charisma that the Sportingistas are looking for. I mean, and I didn't vote for him. I mean, I've been vocal about that. I voted for Bandit. But I think the next elections, when it happens 3 years from now, will be beneficial for Sporting if we have somebody with charisma. But people have to realize that we have to say thank you to Bruno Carvalho and move on from that.
Yeah.
Bruno Carvalho was great for Sporting, but we have to move on. We can just always go back and I mean, João Rocha was great for Sporting, but he's part of the past, and Bruno Carvalho as well. But I loved him too, and that's why I became associate Sporting because of him and Militância. But we have to give the Varandas our support, and even if we don't like him, but he's the maximum figure of Sporting Portugal, and without all of us supporting our team, we're gonna struggle all the time. But he's done what he can do. But even when he does some good, he still gets criticized. It's still not good enough. I mean, I've seen it. Like he does some good, epa, ainda não é bom. He still, and that upsets me. It's like he deserves some credit once in a while, like Borja,
Exactly.
who got Borja and Dumbia. No one ever gave him credit for that. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that pisses me off. It's like, okay, you know what? Now people are just being jerks by always ripping on him because they don't personally like him, and you have to put that aside because you see the Benfiquistas, no matter what that fucking piece of shit president does, because he is a piece of shit, Luis Vieira. Uh, I respect the institution, but not that president because it's very corrupted, even on a personal basis with his personal business. I don't know why Benfica love him so much, but I get it at the same time because he's winning titles. I get it. In a sense, I get it. And Portistas shouldn't be too far behind because Pinta Costa or Pintorada did exist, and they supported him all the time. So I applaud them, Benfiquistas and Portistas, by supporting their president. Don't matter how much pieces of shit they are, because they are. and corrupted, because they are, but they support them. But we do totally the opposite. We become all divided, and we don't support what we have. And of course, if we had other Portuguese in the podcast, they would give me 10 different reasons why they wouldn't support him.
Hmm.
But so when are you going to support him? The question is, it's going to be 3 more years of this shit on Twitter and Facebook and whatever social media you have. That's why sometimes I don't even go to social media. To tell the truth, it's not because of Benfiquistas and Portistas. It's mostly because of Sportingistas being so divided, and I hate that.
Yeah, we'll get us Seville. My quick thoughts on Varandas is he's definitely had some good, like I was just about to mention, but like you mentioned, Christian Borja, Dumbia, Luis Felipe, all good signings, and even some of the players we're linked to. Some of the names sound pretty good. Of course, we have to wait and see if they're true, but as of right now, he has more good players than bad. However, we can't forget he also did bring in Thiago Ilori. The thing is with Varandas that I'm more worried about is his lack of negotiation skills. Of course, and also Vieto, who I think is going to be a good player. Still have to find out about him, but I think whether it is a risk. So I'm not going to. I won't kill Varandas if Vieto doesn't pan out. The only thing I will kill Varandas on is the fact that we paid $7.5 million for 50% of his pass. The fact that we paid $2.5 million or whatever it was for 60% of Thiago Ilori's pass. I think Varandas, maybe his team in terms of scouting has done a good job, but him getting these players over the line, very terrible. I'm very critical on his sales of Nani and Monteiro, not even in January, but in February. I get we have to save some salary or whatever it is, but I totally didn't understand how in February, after coming from one of the toughest months in the league that we had under Kaiser, of course, in January where we took that big hit, as well as in February where we lost to Villarreal. I think we could have definitely used Freddie Montero and Nani, especially Nani. With Bas Dost out, we had Luis Felipe, in a baptism of fire. Basically, we eased him in as much as we could, but there was a point in time where we couldn't ease him in anymore, and he just had to play. Luckily, he panned out, but if he didn't, we might have had a different tone about it. So definitely some criticisms, and then of course, to me, I'm currently seeing, or at least I think I'm seeing a disinvestment or whatever the proper word is in the modalities, which is a bit frightening to say the least. And then of course, his election saying that in terms of money we're fine, just to a few months later getting a loan to repay a loan. But anyways, Christian, thoughts on Varandas?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to really analyze his work yet because this is going to be his first full season coming up. So it's kind of hard to, evaluate, what he's done. Because, the team wasn't fully his. I think that Luis Felipe, Renan Ribeiro, those are all good players that he brought in. It'll be interesting to see how he deals with our players that are out on loan. And it'll be interesting to see how he deals with the Bruno Fernandes situation and the Bas Dost situation as far as negotiating them. So I think that will give us a pretty good idea of what his plan is here going forward, and how he, I guess, reinforces the team with that money. So it's tough to judge him. I know people on Twitter like to overreact to things and say like the modalities losing is his fault and stuff like that. I think that is obviously kind of overreaction and sensationalized. But at the same time, I've been hearing rumors and reading them that he plans to cut the budget for things like including the modalities. And I mean, obviously, that's not the way to get back to winning ways is to cut the funding. So I seriously hope things like that aren't true and they're just kind of like rumored stories that just get printed just because they need to print something. So we're gonna find out a lot about him in the next 2 months or so. So I'm gonna reserve official judgment on him until beginning of August. I know that's kind of a cop out of an answer, but I'm just really not sure how he's gonna handle these things because I mean it shows the team that he didn't really do him any favors last season, and obviously I think his January transfer window, while Nani and Montero were not great, but I think that they both wanted to leave to go back to or to come to America, so he kind of just facilitated that, which is I mean I guess it's whatever. But his other signings in January were not too shabby. He did win 2 titles. Whether or not those were, I mean, can't really credit to him. We could have easily lost both of those games, but we didn't. So I mean, it's not really his doing one way or the other. So I think it's too early to really judge him. We can get kind of signals and hints at the direction that he's trying to go in, but until he actually does it, it'll be interesting. Who knows? Maybe he pays Bruno Fernandes $5 million and he keeps him. Like that'd be certainly an interesting thing to happen. So we'll wait and see what happens here.
Yeah, fair enough. Steph, speaking of Fernandes, you also brought in Marcel Kaiser in November, getting rid of Peseiro. I think we all said enough about Peseiro throughout the year. Wasn't really good for us. But with that being said, what are your thoughts on Marcel Kaiser?
Well, no, I'm a fan of Kaiser. I like him. He deserves a full preseason. Now he knows what to expect from the Sporting Nation and the Portuguese league. He got to know the intensity, how Portuguese coaches think, how we play. You got to know the referees. You got to know, the backstage bullshit. So, I think he's more prepared for 2019, 2020 than he was when he first came in from Saudi Arabia and from the Netherlands reality. So I'm expecting him to be more demanding towards his players. But now, the fucked up thing is we got to wait until August to see what kind of team we're going to have. Like Chris said, if we can keep Bruno Fernandes, that would be great. But one thing I will admit it, this is the way I think. If we can make a good business move now, let's do it now because his value now is very high. So take advantage of the market now. Don't be foolish to say we're going to keep it one more year and then he'll decrease. His value will. That's how it is in football. It'll decrease right away. So if you can make a good move, a good business, a good deal, then do it. Just do it. Go after the money because the loan he got from our fellow American here it was just to buy time. So you need to pay it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we need to sell players. You said you wanted to make 25 million off the loans we have. So I would say a little bit more than that. If he's more aggressive, I would say maybe 45 million. We have a good quality players loaned out that you could make lots of money with it. I think he said 25 just because if he makes 35 off them, then he could, give himself credit for that. But besides that, I'm expecting great thing from Kaiser just because now he has more experience and já conhece os cantos da casa, like we say. So, and I like his style of play. So if he gets the proper players, the players that can hold the ball within 1 meter, because I hate those players that they pass the ball and they can even control it. They overtouch it and they lose control of it. And his style of play, a bola tem que estar colada ao pé.
Yeah.
And if that's not the case, if you touch it too much, if it gets away from you, then it's not going to work. So he's gonna ask the scouting department for those kind of players they can touch, they can control the ball, because he loves to have the control of the game. So I'm very excited to see what kind of players we're gonna get. Um, and that's it. I'm expecting great things from him because he's got more experience.
Yeah, fair. I agree with you actually, Steph. Anyways, I'm gonna steal a question off Joel Da Silva. I think he's still listening to us. At least he's still in our chat. This is from the last podcast. He asked, "How far can Kaiser take us? Do you think he's got what it takes to stay for a couple seasons with us?" Christian, I'll ask you that. What do you think?
Yeah, I do think that he could potentially be the coach that wins us a title. I think that he is maybe a bit too mild-mannered. The combination of him and Brandes is maybe a bit too mild-mannered because you kind of have to be, it seems like the squeaky wheel gets the oil in Portugal. If you bitch enough at the refs or whatever and you cause enough of a scene, they kind of just give you whatever you want. So the combination of those two isn't really good in that department. But as far as his style of play, I think that his team's going to probably get a little bit better this year. He's bringing back Matthew. See if we can hold on to Coates. I mean, he definitely. I think he's definitely going to be put in a pretty good position. And if we don't see improvement, then he has to go. But I think that the trajectory that he was on, although he did, he obviously caught a few bumps in the road, which is obviously expected, I think. But I think that the team was constantly improving under him, and I think that he's in a good position to continue doing that into next season as well.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we'll move on to the players. I was gonna do a player rating. I'm not too sure that would be that appealing at the moment. So instead, I'm gonna go through the amount of players in certain positions, and then I'll ask you guys to not only talk about how well certain players played throughout the season, but then individually, I'll ask you if you think we should keep them or we should look for a transfer. Or loan them out, or lost cause. So we'll start off with the goalies. Mainly, this will be a good discussion, just so you guys know where I'm coming from. This will probably be a great discussion in terms of like Coates transfer, Bruno Fernandes transfer, et cetera, and then of course how they did throughout the season. But in goalies, we had René Ribeiro, Romain Salan, and Luis Max, even though he was mainly from the under 23s. And of course, we also had Viviano. So, Steph, I'll pass it to you. Renan Ribeiro, we've also had a lot of questions like this on Twitter. So sorry if we're answering them prematurely. But Renan Ribeiro, definitely not the best goalie in the world, especially coming from a team that was used to Rui Patricio for however long. But he showed glimpses of some great things this season. So what do you think? Is he our goalie moving forward for next season? Do you think we should give Luis Max a chance? Do you think maybe we should give Viviano a chance if he comes back, like the rumors are suggesting? What are your thoughts, Steph? Steph?
I think Viviano and hear me?
Now we can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I think I'm good. Can you hear me?
Nah, yeah, I can hear you.
You're cutting off, bud.
Okay. So
there you are. No, you're back. Try again.
Okay. So I think the problem with Viviano is his salary. He makes too much money. So loaning him, he offsets that salary. I would love to see him at Sporting, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then Ribeiro, I think, is a good goalie. He has room for improvement. He has to get better getting out of the posts when with those crosses. He sucks at that. That's why he needs to improve. But I would like Sporting to give Max a chance. That's it.
Fair enough. Moving on to the center backs, Christian, I'll pass this one off to you. Hot topic. I'll obviously ask you as well, Steph. Hot topic is Sebastian Quach. Really unsure whether we're going to sell him or not. The rumors are 20 million is what we're looking for, but the only real rumor of a value of what's the word I'm looking for, of like a transfer value that we've gotten for him is Valencia for 12 million. So first and foremost, what are your thoughts on Quach's season this year? Seeing as it's definitely not his best season at Sporting, but I wanted to know your 2 cents on whether it was good or bad. And do you think we should maybe sell the Uruguayan center back?
Yeah, I thought he had a pretty good season overall. He definitely is one of our rocks in defense. When Matthew was out for a while, Quach wasn't as good and as used to playing with the other partners that he was given. That was pretty evident in like our team performances and the goals we conceded during that span. But I mean, I think that no player is really untouchable in the market these days. And I think for the right price, I'd be willing to sell him. I think that price is probably about 20 million.
Yeah. And Steph, what about you?
I agree with Chris. If somebody offers 20 million, then I would sell him too.
Yeah.
But he had a awesome season. I would rather keep him, of course, but needs to sell. And hello?
Yeah.
Danny.
Sorry, you were just cutting off for a bit, but we just got it now. All right, and then of course Mathieu is going to stay. Luis Neto is coming in, so we have to wait to see. And then of course the Lodi and André Pinto problem, or not problem. Christian, do you think we should? Of course, keeping in mind we also have Duarte and Ivanildo out on loan. That had really good seasons for the respective clubs. Do you see this being the end of André Pinto and even Ilori, who just came back? His time at Sporting.
Yeah, I just don't really know what a sale of Ilori even looks like or to where. We only have 60% of his pass, and we pretty much would have to make our money back for it to even make sense. So I think that's just going to be. I think he's going to stay just because he has absolutely no market right now, and we'd be losing money on any transfer. I think that André Pinto might be on his way out. There was rumors that he might be leaving earlier this season and then ended up staying. But I mean, with guys like Duarte and Ivanil, they're both better than him anyways. And I just don't think that he's going to stick around on this roster. I think that probably China, Middle East, MLS are spots that would be likely for him to go.
Yeah, agreed. Especially seeing Luis Neto's coming back too. I think.
Yeah.
There's definitely.
There's no room for him.
Yeah, exactly. My only concern is really if Ivanildo. I see one of them getting loaned out again, to be honest.
Or sold. If Deportivo gets promoted and they want to pay $6 million, I think that it's something we have to look at.
You know what? I wouldn't even be mad at that necessarily. To be honest, I wouldn't be mad at that. All right. Left backs. I guess we can classify Acuna as a left back. So we have Acuna, Borja, and of course Jefferson. who I didn't say it on the podcast, but I absolutely loved his Che Guevara impersonation in the Taça Portugal. But Steph, mainly on Marcos Acuna, there were rumors, or not even rumors. It looked all but done. Marcos Acuna going to Zenit. It ended up not panning through. If this summer we get or not even if, do you think we should actively go out and try to sell Acuna this summer? And what are your thoughts of the Acuna season this year?
Well, I think he had a great season, first of all. Then, second of all, I don't think we should be actively trying to sell him. But if we get someone that wants to pay 20 million, yeah, sell him. I would rather keep him too, but again, for the right price, you got to sell them. That's on Acuna. But really fast on the center backs, I'm just going to say something.
Yeah, sure.
The only reason why we got Lodi is because we thought that Machi was gone. Machi was gone to Sochaux, and all of a sudden he decided to stay one more year, which is good. I'm not complaining. I'm glad he stayed. And then the one thing he imposed was I want Coates to stay, and then it looks like Coates is going to stay as well. So that kind of fucked up the whole scheme behind Ivanildo and Duarte and all that. And I would rather Ivanildo and Duarte to be loaned out than to be the fourth option on the bench and then not playing at all. Luis Neto, he understands his role, and that's why he came to Sporting. He's going to be the third option. But coming back to the left backs, Jefferson, he's got 1 year left, and if no one is willing to pay the salary he's making, he's going to stay at Sporting and make that money he's making. But hey, I would do the same thing if I was a professional player. You know what I mean? But
yeah, for sure. Moving on to the other flank, our right backs, Ristovski and Bruno Gaspar. I think we can all agree Gaspar was horrendous. Sadly to me, because I actually liked Gaspar's transfer at the time. I thought he did decent at Guimarães, and I thought he did decent at Fiorentina as well. It just clearly didn't pan out for him in Portugal. Maybe chalk that up to a bad season or not, but I think he's more than likely on his way out, or at least should be. More on to Stefan Ristovski, though. A good season from him, in my opinion, at least. But with potential rumors of this Rossier guy, do you see, Christian, I'll pass this one to you. Do you see Ristovski taking more and more of a backup role next season? Do you think, obviously it's tough to tell without seeing this Rossier guy, but do you think he's still good enough to push on and be our first choice right back?
I think that Rossier would probably be the starter, and Ristovski would be the primary backup. I think that with three center backs, I think that I think Ristovski is very capable of playing that like wing back role. So I think that he could, situationally still have some use. And we bought him for very cheap. I think he cost $1 million, and I think that if we were to hypothetically go out and sell him today, he would be worth more than that. So I think that he's definitely a good guy to keep around. I think he's developed. I think he's a good locker room guy as well. And I would be totally fine with keeping him as a rotational squad player. As well as able to play as well, because Rossier missed about like a third of the season with injury. So, he's definitely it's good. It's just good to have depth. Bruno Gaspar had to play a decent amount this season, and he was pretty bad. So it's just always good to have like relatively affordable rotational players available.
Yeah, agreed. All right, moving on to midfield now. Steph, I'll pass this one off to you. So defensive midfielders, we have Gudeli, we have Dumbia, we have Petrovic, and we have a few players on loan that we'll talk about in a few minutes when we get onto our loan players on who we think should come in. I think it's safe to say Petrovic should be on his way out. First of all, I'll ask you actually on Gudeli. Do you think he should re-sign with Sporting?
Who, me?
Yeah. Sorry, Steph.
You ask. no, it's cool. No, I'm not a fan of Gudelj. So no, give one of our youngsters a shot.
Fair. And so actually, then let's discuss that. We have Doumbia, who I personally I think has done a good job. I think you'd agree with me. Out on loan, we have Bragança, who is on loan to Farense. We have João Pelinha, which might be an issue bringing back. And let me see from the who else do we have? That's really it in terms of defensive midfielders. Do you think Doumbia is good enough to be our starter, or do you even think Bragança is good enough to be our starter in terms of that defensive midfielder spot? Do you think maybe we should look elsewhere? What are your thoughts on that stuff?
And
then, of course,
Bragança,
sorry, we also have Battaglia coming back.
Is Bragança number 6 or number 8?
So it's tough, man. He's played number 6 before, but I guess to me he's also a number 8. I'm with you on that. But he has played number 6 at the under 23s as well. He's played a 6. But okay, forget Bragança then. Doumbia and Battaglia coming back from his injury, for example.
Yeah, but let's not forget we involved in 5 competitions, and that's what the problem is. You need a proper rotation. So in that position, you need actually 3 players or someone that could play number 6 and number 8. So yeah, I'm happy with Doumbia. Battaglia, you put it out there that he's okay to be sold.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll stay. But if he stays, yeah, Battaglia and Doumbia, I'll be happy. And then if Bragança, if he has played number 6 and number 8, which I think he prefers number 8, then he could be the third option if need be. But I would get rid of Gudelj. And let's not forget about Brun Paz. I know he got hurt.
Yeah.
But that's another option, which I like him very much. And that's it.
Yeah.
Or,
sorry?
That's it. No, that's it.
Yeah, sadly with Brun Paz, the only reason I didn't include him because if we do see him, it'll probably be towards like January, February, right? I don't think unless he like comes back like full fit and he starts tearing it up, I don't see him jumping into the senior team after an injury like that. Anyway, central midfield, we have Wendell, we have Miguel Luis, of course, Bruno Fernandes. We still have Chic Geraldes. We got back from loan mid-season. Christian, quick thoughts on Wendell and Miguel Luis. Wendell, who came more alive towards Kaiser's reign and really pushed on. Miguel Luis, who sort of disappeared. Do you see them playing an important part in our midfield next season, or do you see just one more than the other? What are your thoughts, dude?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about Miguel Luis or what the plan is or what his future looks like. There's definitely I definitely think that Wendell is going to be a big part of this team. There's rumors that Dortmund is potentially interested in him. He's kind of starting to develop suitors and a market for himself outside. He just won the Toulon tournament, played really well. Even wore the armband. So he definitely is getting on the radar of the Tubarões a little bit, which is good and bad. So I think we have to kind of figure out what our fixed value is for him. I'd probably say maybe like 25 mil would be a reasonable price for him. He's still very young. We paid a decent amount for him, so I think maybe closer to 30 mil would be something that we'd be willing to talk. I think at least you have to say at least 20 to 25, and then we can start talking if someone wants him. But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to play a huge part in the midfield next season, especially if Bruno Fernandes goes. I think he has to take on even more responsibility than he had before, and just continue growing into the player that he is. I've seen him score some bangers. I think he's going to have to, kind of pick up the slack in the goal scoring department, because obviously Bruno Fernandes was giving us so many goals and assists. I think he needs to pick up, in the final third as far as finishing. But as far as Miguel Luis, I'm really not sure. I hope he's in the team. I hope that he gets more chances to play just because he'll basically be moving up one spot in the depth chart. But we are linked to an Argentinian attacking mid. So I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe he'll be loaned out. I'm really not sure. He totally disappeared the last 4 months of the season. He wasn't even in the squad a lot of the time, and he was mostly just with the U23s. So I mean, maybe he was a bit premature in the first team, and those good performances he put in were just, maybe they weren't kind of carrying over into training every day, and they were just kind of random performances just because he was forced to play. But yeah, I'm really not sure. I haven't heard much about him, and yeah, I have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah. Agreed. And then I guess to the biggest talking point, Bruno Fernandes. We've discussed them a bit already. I think personally, with me, I'm with Steph's belief. I think we have to cash in on him now. I think we made a huge mistake if we look into our past with guys like William, for example, who were apparently Arsenal were interested for 30-40 million or whatever it was. Although at the time I agree it wasn't proper valuation for him and we should have been maybe asking for more. I think we definitely missed an opportunity there. And there's of course a risk of Bruno Fernandes if he doesn't get sold, getting injured and us never potentially seeing anywhere near those figures. So I'll ask again, I guess, Christian, what did you think? Do you think we should sell him? And then on top of that, let's make this a bit more fun. Where do you think he's actually going to go if we do sell him?
Yeah, I think that it's just going to be impossible to keep him based on the offers that come in. I think he's probably going to end up in England, although Atletico Madrid is seemingly about to enter the race with a very shitty offer. Inter Milan's rumored to be entering the race. If Inter Milan hops in the race, I wouldn't be shocked to see Juventus hop in the race, especially if Dybala leaves. Obviously the big ones in all the big teams in England, Man City, Man United, Liverpool, even Tottenham was linked at one point. So I think that we need to start actually getting some concrete offers in. I don't know how many have actually showed up as far as official offers as opposed to just rumors. And in the end, I think he's probably going to end up at Manchester United, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with you, actually.
I think they're going to have a very big spending summer. I think they're going to go wild. And I think that's where he's going to end up.
Agreed. Especially if they sell Pogba. They have to buy somebody. And even if they don't, I still see him as, he walks into that 11. I know in Inter he also does too, and maybe even Atleti. But I don't really see them spending the cash like that. Even though they do have money, especially Inter now, but I don't know with these financial fair play rules, how well Inter can get away with it. And all that jazz.
I also think that if teams are buying João Felix, they're not buying Bruno Fernandes. So a lot of the same teams have been linked to João Felix. No one's buying both. No one's dropping 200 mil on both. So they're going to end up going to different teams.
Yeah, agreed. Unless, but who knows with Manchester City? At the same time, I didn't expect the team to fucking drop 100,000 on 3 fullbacks, So who knows? Maybe. But I'm with you. I doubt that'll happen as well. Last midfielder really to talk about, which was kind of disappointing just because I had high hopes for him. Even in the start of the season when he got loaned out, though he got injured, so I can't really blame him for that. But when he came back, I thought I'd see him a lot more than I did. Of course, I'm talking about Chico Gerald. Of course, with rumors of AEK Athens being interested in him and us maybe renewing him for an extra season just, to see what he does on loan. What do you think has gone wrong with him? Or is it just that maybe he just really isn't Sporting caliber? What do you think, Krish? Steph's just away for a bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that he probably isn't. He's probably not quality enough. Maybe in the role that he is, he's good enough as like a third string kind of squad player, Taça da Liga player. But as far as being the starting attacking mid at Sporting, I don't think that that's ever going to pan out. And I think that we all want him to pan out more than he's shown. And I think that we kind of have the blinders on with him just because we want him to succeed, and he's a homegrown guy. And we want him to see him perform for Sporting, but I personally doubt that it's ever going to happen. He went all the teams. I mean, the only team that he's really ever had success with is Rio Ave, and that's probably about the level that he'll be playing at for most of his career.
Damn, dude, that just hurt my heart. Yeah, I'm panning more and more to that. All right. So it's gonna be me and you along the way, Chris. Just a heads up.
Okay.
Steph had to step out for a second. So, but anyways, thank you, Steph, for joining us real quick. All right, and then to our wingers, we have Rafinha, we have Jovan, we have Diaby. Actually, let's rate Rafinha because Rafinha's tough. He didn't have a great start, I'd say, but he definitely impressed towards the end. How did you find Rafinha's season?
I thought that he was actually really good. He did get hurt there for a little bit and was out for like a month, I would say. But yeah, I mean, he is really good. He's really dynamic, taking players on. Sometimes puts his head down too much and just like dribbles towards the corner aimlessly. But he, once again, he's still pretty young. And I think that he's only going to continue to develop, and he's got the banger in him as well, cutting inside. So yeah, I mean he was excellent this season, and good signing, and he was very useful.
Do you think Jovan's going to go out on loan, or how do you see that planning out? Because we might have Matheus Pereira coming back.
Yeah, I was going to say it depends a lot on whether
that's about it
on the roster or how we go to the market.
Yeah.
See if we get any wingers, but I don't know. I mean, I think that he definitely he's shown that he has the quality to stay. But yeah, I just don't know what Kaiser's gonna opt to do. If he'd rather have Jovan or like go to Argentina and spend like $6 million on a winger or something like that.
Yeah. And then of course also I think Gonçalo Plata is gonna be part of the team no matter what.
True.
Because he had a killer fucking under-20 World Cup. So yeah. So of course that's Rafinha, that's potentially Jovan, potentially Matheus Pereira, Plata. Do you think we'll be able to offload Diaby or at least take a loss? At this point, I don't even mind a loss. But what do you think about Diaby? Or do you think he stays? Do you think he deserves to stay?
I think that he might deserve to stay. I don't think he deserves to be a regular starter. I don't really know what the market for him would even look like. I think we paid like $7 million for him, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
We definitely would not make that back. It'd be difficult because he had his moments, but he also is a very frustrating player. And yeah, I mean he's just really not. He's not a good finisher. He's pretty quick. But I mean that's about it. He's definitely not worth what we paid for him. I'm just gonna guess that he probably sticks around just because he has a longer contract and we just paid that much for him, and I don't really think anyone's gonna be knocking down the door trying to get him. So I just think he stays just by nature of those factors.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I'm really hoping he leaves. I wasn't that impressed with the guy. Anyways, and then of course to our strike force, we have Bas Dost, who may or may not be leaving. We'll talk about that. We have Luciano Vieto still to come, and of course we have Luis Felipe. We'll start off with Luis Felipe. What are your overall thoughts on his season that he had with Sporting, or at least half the season that he had with Sporting?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was great. He basically came out of nowhere. He took some time to acclimate into the team, and he had some performances that led me to believe that he wasn't that good. But towards the end of the season, I mean, he scored in almost every game. He was really good. He only cost $500,000. He was one of the better players in the second division. And I'm not even sure if we expected him to develop as quickly as he did. And he kept Bas Dost out of the 11 even once he came back and he was healthy. So I think that as far as evaluating his season, how much he cost, what was really expected of him, you can't really ask for much more than that.
Yeah, and I'd agree with you. Yeah, I think the thing is too, he also offered a lot that Bas Dost couldn't. He was able. He was down to chase balls down to chase down defenders. His shot, apparently he doesn't really need to wind up a lot to get a lot of power behind his shot. Whereas Bas Dost, he doesn't have a bad shot for a target man, but there's still a lot to be desired there. And now with Bas Dost, do you think, of course, if it's all depending on figures, but do you think we should be looking to sell Bas Dost, or do you think it wouldn't hurt to keep Bas Dost? Well, I mean, a guy who had 20 goals this season and it's been one of his worst seasons at Sporting, do you think he should stay at Sporting and help us conquer the league?
I personally am ready for a different type of striker. I think that we can get a striker in the mold of Bas Dost and pay a lot less. The thing is, I just don't know if there's going to be too many offers in the region of what we want. We want like around 20 million, which I think is, fair value. But I think that teams are more in like the 12 range. So I just don't know if he's going to get sold because no one's going to get or submit an offer that's, satisfactory enough. Although I think that we personally should probably move on. And I think that if we don't sell him this season and get the money that we want this season, we're never going to get it. So that's my only fear with that, because he's not going to get any quicker as he gets older. And, he's pretty non-existent threat from outside the box. He's obviously only good if he's getting consistent good service into the box. And this season, he kind of experienced the worst spell we've ever seen from him, when he was just totally devoid of confidence, and then he was hurt a lot. So, I mean, all those things considered, it's pretty amazing that he still scored 20 goals. But yeah, I mean, if we're gonna move on, I think it's pretty much now or never.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And I was even mentioning in the chat, talking to some people here, namely Joel Da Silva and Nicholas Fialho. They were saying, we should definitely cash in, either sold to China or the Middle East, to be able to, get some money from him. I was even saying even MLS or even the Premier League. I don't see why certain Premier League teams, especially the ones fighting for survival, don't dish out 20 million on a striker on his worst season that scores 20 goals. Those goals can definitely help you out in your relegation race.
Especially if you're not even playing. Crystal Palace is not. They're not trying to play out of the back or anything. They're just
under Roy Hodgson, Bas Dost would fucking murder. Or if Tony Pulis comes back to the Prem, I don't know where he's at right now. Fucking murder.
I mean, even those championship teams have money.
Yeah, that's a good point. I literally just thought of that too. I'm like, oh shit, like a Nottingham Forest or whatever, or not, a team not owned by Georges Mint. But yeah, I'm with you. I think we should definitely cash in on him. Last player, he's not on the squad, but he is out on loan. Did have a decent season. Let me look up his stats really quick. Maybe one that you're not expecting me to say. Matheus Oliveira, 23 appearances for Guimarães, 3 goals, 2 assists, just in the Portuguese league. Let me see if he scored. He scored a goal and an assist in the Taça de Portugal. All from center mid, most from attacking midfield, sometimes on the right. What are your thoughts on Matheus? Do you think he has a spot at Sporting, even as in terms of depth, or do you think he's just not good enough?
I think that he's probably not good enough. Although I mean, there's a chance that he gets a spot on the roster. But I seriously doubt it. He's probably even lower on the depth chart than Chico Geralds.
Yeah.
I mean, if Guimarães wants to pay like $1 million for him, I think that we should probably do that. And I mean, he didn't really play that great at the beginning of the season. Guimarães didn't really play that great at the beginning of the season, but they kind of caught on towards the end. And he was playing a lot better. He scored most of those goals towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Agreed. I think at the very least, give him maybe a run out in preseason. But I'm also with you. If Guimarães want to take him off our hands, I'm not mad at that at all. That's pretty much it in terms of under 23s. Do you see anybody potentially making that leap to the first team? We have the guys like Pedro Mendes and Pedro Marques. Even Mes de Wheat did all right. The Dutch guy we signed. Let me see who else. Nuno Moreira. Paulinho's unfortunately not coming back. Apparently, Thierry Correa at right back. Abdou Conte. João Queiroz. Any of these guys, really catch your attention, or do you think another season for under 23 or potentially B team, if we do get it back in time, would do them, or alone, of course, would do them a world of good?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, not really any of those guys. Maybe Abdou Conte if we sell Acuna and don't really have a backup left back, especially if Jefferson leaves.
Yeah.
Although he did state that he's staying. I don't really know if he knows that he doesn't really in control of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we might just need him just for sake of depth. Although I guess there's a reasonable chance that Jefferson stays one more year. He has a contract for one more year, I believe.
Sure. Yeah.
So there is a chance, but I mean, at the same time, I think you can still have Conte as a depth option, even if you have Jefferson. Yeah, I mean, Bruno Paz would have been nice, but I don't think we're going to see him much next season. Maybe not until maybe the second half of the season he'll be able to come back, but he's obviously not going to just jump back in with the first team.
Yeah.
Pedro Mendes, Pedro Marques. It'd be interesting to see. I think that they definitely should probably start at U23. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many strikers are going to sign. But it really does hinge a lot on Vieto's performances and how he looks.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we're not clamoring for them, because if we are, it means that things aren't going well with him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Miguel Luis, we talked about. I mean, I don't really see too much else there. I mean, Bragança would be interesting, but not really sure. If he'll be in the squad next year, I probably doubt it. But yeah, I mean, those are the main ones.
Yeah, I think Bragança. Out of all of the U23 players, or the academy players that we have, might have the best chance. Before I might have said Paj, but like you mentioned, his injury is kind of tough. And then, like you said, it's not like he can just walk back in. I think Bragança might have the best chance out of everybody, aside from Gonçalo Plata, of course. But I think I'm really interested to see what he does this preseason. I'm really hoping he's going to be here in America, so I can, so we can get a closer look at him. But yeah, I'm with you. Aside from that, maybe Minge, especially if Basdal leaves.
Dalla as well.
Oh, true, Gelson Dalla. Do you think he'll have a chance? He'll actually get a run out at Sporting or what? I have a feeling he's going to get loaned out.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think that he'll really get his fair shake, but at the same time, I think that he's probably more deserving of a shot than either of the Pedros.
Agreed. As Pedros only did it in a under 23 league, whereas Dalla's been, doing fairly well for Rio Ave.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree with you there. The thing is also with him, my only worry with Dalla is because he comes back so late with Angola, we might be already sort of piecing our puzzle together, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I'm hoping he also starts killing it for Angola, so we can seriously consider him. and have him, just there in our mind. Because I know he comes back with maybe like 2-3 weeks left until the new season starts, but it'll be tough. But I'm that's a great shout. I'm hoping he does stay for next year's team. All right. With that being said, actually, let's go to Twitter real quick. This is going on 2 hours. I don't know how if this will upload on SoundCloud, but fuck it. We'll try to figure it out. Let me quickly get the Twitter questions up. We only had a few. All right. First question comes in from Steph. It's a shame he's not here. He asks, "É penalti ou não é penalti no futsal?" It is a penalty. So next question comes in from Kevin Fernandes at KFernandes1906 on Twitter. He asks, player of the year in futsal plus whatever other modality you guys keep up with. So let's not keep it to futsal. Let's keep it to modality. Make it even harder. Your modality player of the season. It's tough. I'm thinking right now maybe Carlos Huesga, who scored some big goals for us in handball.
Maybe
the big D, Dieguinho, for that run in the Champions League. But I don't think he deserves it.
Or João Mats, maybe.
João Mats for sure, yeah.
Well, actually, I'm officially submitting my answer. Gita.
Ooh, great shout. I'll go with Carlos Huesga, but great shout. Gita was huge. All right, next question comes in from Sporting CP Youth at Sporting CPY, our boy out in Germany. He asks, looking back on the first year of Marcel Kaiser, would you say it was a successful one? It's a few questions, so we'll answer one at a time. Do you think overall Kaiser's tenure at Sporting has been successful?
Yeah, I think so. Just simply, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have continued that. He says, despite the loss of Villarreal in the Europa League, I'm with you. 2 titles, you can't really bitch and moan much about that, especially coming in November to a team that wasn't his. I think he's had a successful season, definitely. Which 3 players were the best for you this season? So Bruno Fernandes is an obvious.
Yeah. Bruno Fernandes, Luis Felipe, and Acuna.
Yeah, I'll go with similar. I'll go Bruno Fernandes, Mathieu, even though he was injured. I think he was huge for us, and Acuna as well. And he asks, and last question, who is the best newcomer of the season for you? Who do you think, dude?
Newcomer of the season.
Yeah.
I guess either. So basically, options are like Felipe, Diaby,
Borja, Diaby,
Doumbia,
Gudeli.
I'm gonna go with Felipe. With close second of Renan Ribeiro. Came up big in the big moments.
He did. I'll agree with you. I'll go with Felipe and Renan. And, special mention to Borja. I think Borja did very well.
Yeah, he did. He didn't have too much time.
No.
But, obviously a really good, solid left back. Did he play against Argentina yesterday? I missed the game.
He didn't. I checked. It was, what's his face? Oh, no. Tagliafico is Argentinian. Never mind. But if somebody... Sorry?
Did Acuna play?
Acuna didn't play, no.
Damn.
That's what I was thinking of for Colombia. I don't know. That's what Tagliafico took from Ajax, took Acuna's spot at left back, and for Colombia he also didn't play. Tecilio or whatever his name is. I don't know who this guy is. Plays for Club Leon. So, anyways, and that's really all from Twitter. And just David Claudio at DavidStrife35 says, finalmente meu podcast favorito vai voltar. Shout out to you, David Claudio. We appreciate the love and support. And with that being said, unless you have anything else to add, Chris, I don't know if you do or not.
No, not really.
That's really our end of season podcast. Like we said, a good season, 2 titles. After some turmoil, I think the best way to end this off, I guess, is a rating out of 10 for you. What did you think out of our season?
For just the football team?
Just the football team. Or actually, for the football team, and then we'll do Sporting as a whole.
For the football team, I'm gonna go 7.5.
All right, I'll agree. I was aiming for a 7, so I'll agree 7.5. And for the overall Sporting club, Sporting's year this year,
7.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess the last one too. Your team of the year for Sporting, if this was the gala, who would you award it to?
Probably either the futsal team, or the football team.
Fair. I think I'm giving it to the futsal team. I think European title, 3 titles. We couldn't win the league today, unfortunately, but
I would have sealed it for them
for sure. Oh man, when that shit hit the post. When that fucking thing hit the post, I was so devastated.
I at first thought it hit Eric in the face, to be honest, because he was standing right on the post.
Oh, yeah. True.
But, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck. Anyways, not to end this off on a bad note. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for listening in. This was a very long one, but a very enjoyable one, if I do say so myself. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Sporting160EN, on Twitter at Sporting160_EN. Our SoundCloud and our iTunes will be up on Twitter, and I'll throw it into the description once it's up on this YouTube channel. We'll see you throughout the summer. Definitely gonna be checking in, giving you guys the latest of sorry, I was reading what Joel just said. We're going to be giving you guys the latest of transfer rumors and preseason tours and all of that of Sporting. Hopefully, like we mentioned earlier in the podcast, me, Christian, and Steph, of the minimum of the Sporting 160 crew, will be meeting up in New York, hopefully, watching Sporting play Liverpool. And hopefully we'll meet some of you guys out there as well. With that being said, thank you all for joining us. And... viva Sporting!